I've been on social media for close to 7 years.
I've been in social media as far back as 2009.
I've been on social media for a while, as long as I can remember, if YouTube counts as social media.
Social media, an internet-based form of communication which saw the light of day in 1997 with the platform 6 Degrees. Today it has become the communication mode of choice for most people.
I usually go to Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram, and sometimes Twitter.
I use YouTube, I use TikTok, I use Twitter, I use Instagram sometimes, and I use Tumblr.
I like to visit TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
According to available data, the average person checks their mobile device 160 times a day. A good chunk of this time is dedicated to online social networks.
Let's say on average maybe 4 hours, both passive and active, because I mean if you want to look up something on YouTube, that's already time spent. So passively probably 4 hours.
It depends on how less busy I am. If I don't have anything doing, I may be on social media as long as I'm idle. Maybe in one day I could be there like 5 to 6 hours.
I spend everything being equal about 8 hours on social media a day. You know, I am a lecturer at the seminary, so I create time for research. I create time to be informed of the happenings in the world, so I must go online to check some of the issues that are actually happening.
May like 20 hours.
Information, insight, entertainment, connections, boredom. The reasons why people use social media are vast and diverse.
I go to this site mainly for infotainment, to get information about what is happening around me. And then sometimes I also go there to get entertained by music, by skits.
Well, Twitter especially is usually the place where I get my news from. When things are trending, it is quite easy to get information from the new topics, hot topics that go on around the world. It's quite easy to get them from Twitter. YouTube, I use it to do my research. I draw as a hobby. Maybe I want to learn some new techniques, some new ways to animate. I use YouTube. TikTok is the same because I upload content to TikTok. And if you want content to be seen or maybe get a lot of views, you need to know what is trending on TikTok. So I need to be there to know the trends, to be able to upload good content.
I really like to visit TikTok because it's very interesting. Yeah, there are a lot of things, there are fun videos that I watch there, there are educative videos and many more. And on WhatsApp is basically because of chatting purposes with families and friends. Yeah. Facebook is just to view people's posts.
Facebook because you can easily reconnect somebody whose contact you lost. WhatsApp too, I mean videos, you communicate, and this one is good because you choose the people you communicate with.
Social media platforms were mostly designed to help people connect digitally. Over time, they have evolved significantly. becoming information gathering spaces, retail platforms, 21st century marketing tools.
Social media has changed a lot over the years. From 2016 to now, I think a lot has evolved. For example, internet is more accessible to people. I think us as Cameroonians, 5 years ago, a touchscreen phone was not that easy to get your hands on, not even to talk of a computer. So the accessibility is there. So more people are on the internet, more content flows on the internet.
I've witnessed that a lot of people now use these social media handles. And the content too has also increased in terms of volume.
In the past, you could communicate through text, SMS, through text messages. But today, we have advanced features or applications that we now use. For example, WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook, and other features and applications are there. And in the past as well, you just had simple Facebook, Messenger, but today you have Facebook Lite, Messenger Lite, and on WhatsApp you could just communicate. But today you can do a video call, you can do a conference call, you can do other issues. So these are all issues of evolution on social media.
There are many sides to social media: the good, the bad, the ugly. Speaking of good, social media, by virtue of its nature, helps create connections, grow businesses, build communities, and a lot more.
Today we hear about artificial intelligence. There are apps today that are available that can really help you, to understand your lectures in class, to understand what the teacher said, to even do further research to enrich yourself with regards to general knowledge of the society and all that. And so, yeah, it's really important in that. Apart from that too, it's a tool that can also help you to sell out yourself. Today, you can become a millionaire using social media.
One of the advantages of social media, as a pastor, is for evangelization. That you can reach many persons with the gospel through social media. For example, when I do the meditation I send online, many persons will see people are calling and appreciating. And the gospel goes beyond. Through social media, you may get into research, do your findings, and get information that will help you in whatever field you are engaging yourself into. In this era of globalization, the social media has actually bridged learning. It has brought learning closer to people. That I am a lecturer here in Kumba. For example, in the TSA program, I have students in China, in Dubai, in Bamenda, in Zambia, in Egypt. I am in Kumba, and I teach them online. So these are the advantages of social media. Secondly, it brings you closer to your family members. You are far away, and you can communicate to them.
You can get motivated by success stories on social media that have been put out there by people. You can also get motivated by influencers, motivational speakers.
A teenager, just like an adult, may be stressed up, and then he or she distracts himself with the internet, WhatsApp, Facebook, and then he forgets some of his predicaments. So that's a positive aspect of it. And then they learn a lot, they interact with people from different parts of the world, and they are able to make new friends, discover new faces, discover new things and philosophies about life.
On the flip side, social media can take a toll on users mentally and physically.
One of the characteristics of social media is that it is very, very appealing, and of course, and as a consequence, very addictive. Okay, so most smartphone users, particularly of the younger generation, the teenagers and young adults, will tend to spend a lot of hours on the smartphone and on their screens. And one of the things that happen is that medically this can affect your ability to reason well later on. I'm going to explain. All right, when you spend a lot of hours on the phone, it can affect your sleep quality. All right, and we know that when you sleep well, you permit your brain to rest well, and therefore your brain is more productive the next day when you have adequate and good quality sleep. All right, so when you spend hours, usually in the night or even in the day, on the screen, on social media, what happens is that it keeps the brain in a state of alertness, and so the brain doesn't rest well, and as a result, poor sleep quality, and as a result, difficulties in concentration, difficulties in memory. We know that good sleep permits the immune system to function well. Good sleep permits the brain to rest and recycle itself, and good sleep permits the rest of the body as a whole to rest and to heal. All right, so anything that would affect the quality of sleep as well as the quantity of sleep that you get will in the long run affect you physically. All right, that can lead to symptoms of like maybe malnutrition. It can also lead to frequent diseases, because we know that when you have a weak immune system, you are easily exposed to developing diseases as a whole. Maintaining a particular position for individuals who have the predisposition can lead to problems with their joints, all right, joints of the fingers. But much more, it's at the level of the eyes that we may have some issues. All right, we know that smartphones emit lights at different spectra, and these different light spectra affect the eyes differently. All right, prolonged exposition to light can affect the ability of the eyes to accommodate, the ability of the eye to better produce a good image of the world. All right, so that's why it's advised to avoid screen usage, particularly in the night, because we know that when you use a screen in the night, the eye is focused, is called upon to do much more work, to focus the light, and that can expose the individual to developing some diseases, like it can aggravate some forms of glaucoma. Right. Another aspect that is also common with individuals who use the screen for long is that they develop headaches.
On social media, the lines between perception and reality are blurred, very often by filters.
People tend to post the best of themselves, or sometimes even exaggerated versions of themselves. They might talk about their riches, cars that they've rented, they say that they own the cars, and they're usually young people. So the standard is already raised for these teenagers, not just riches, but sometimes beauty as well. You see people with a lot of filters, you think that that's what the average human being is supposed to look like. So the standard is set so high, and the teenagers are rushing to reach those standards, which are not obtainable, and sometimes it can cause them to get depressed. Sometimes it causes conflict among peers, like who is better or who is worse, classifying themselves inside bubbles which don't need to be there.
All of these can act on your mental health, especially when you don't have the means to do that. You can run into depression, you can run into anxiety, you can run into stress, and also give you a sense of low self-esteem. People tend to paint their fake lifestyle on social media, and the users take them to be reality.
Social media today has been linked to low self-esteem. Always seeing people who are doing so well and having the time of their life, like they say, on social media, which does not necessarily reflect the reality. If not properly handled, can affect the individual, and thus can lead to signs like low self-esteem, comparison.
I feel like things I see on Instagram, they're kind of influencing me to like, let me create my own life to be like this. It's interesting. I would like to be this way. I would like to have this kind of life, this kind of fancy things. When I watch them, like, you have not done anything. You need to do so many things to get to that life.
There are a lot of things that people showcase on social media which is not their real lifestyle. They give you what you want to see and not what they want you to see.
Online social networks have become sources of information for many. However, misinformation and disinformation are a daily challenge for users.
When we watch videos, post on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, it affects our thinking. TikTok, people do videos in such a way that there's a desired effect that they want to achieve.
Anybody can post on social media. If you don't do your research, you might take the wrong information and go and spread it, and that's how misinformation is circulated. Everyone wants to make their website so in such a way that people will stay. They have algorithms which will track the things that you like, so they'll keep pushing that content towards you so that you stay on the social media in question. And that in itself does not allow somebody to be able to do their own research, be able to find things that they want to find. Everything is pushed to them. So they don't develop a habit of looking for things themselves, a habit of independence, because they believe that everything needs to come to them, and the attention span shortens and shortens and shortens. I mean, people don't read anymore because that end goal is not fast enough for them when they read.
Misinformation. Through social media, people have been misinformed and they engage into issues that they were not supposed to. So that negative part of misinformation. When people post wrong information and people try to believe them, you find the community may be chaotic. In fact, there are so many disadvantages of using social media today. If with people who intend and they specialize in misleading people, you can be misled through the social media information that you get or you read.
Young people are particularly vulnerable on social media. Their mental health and academic output can become compromised by hours of scrolling.
It leads to moral decadence in the sense that, teenagers and children are such that when they see things, they want to really feel the things, like doubting Thomases. So when they see a lot of negative things on the social media, like lesbianism, homosexuality, pornography, all of those things, they will want to imitate. That's the tendency, and when they imitate, it becomes a serious problem. It affects the output, even the teacher may be in class teaching, gives an exercise, and then sits down just browsing and forgets, loses concentration. So too much of everything is bad.
The kids and the adolescents are very curious to know certain things which is not the right way that they were supposed to go about knowing those things. I mean, in our days when we were at their level, there was even nothing like the Android or the Apple or the Google type of stuff that we can go inside. Internet affordable, 100 francs, you have internet in your phone. But they have all those things now at their disposal, and then they use it and then they misuse it. And it's really causing some damage. When lessons are given, those lessons are supposed to be revised back at home before they come back to the school for the next lesson. But when they go back home, most of the time they spend it on internet, watching irrelevant videos. When I say irrelevant, they are videos that will not help them insofar as their education is concerned. Consequently, their performance will obviously drop because they will not, first of all, revise what they did the previous day. They will go into internet navigating on irrelevant sites.
It impacts my education very, very negatively because the time I need to use to study my book work, I will use it to be watching things that are not even book related on my phone. Yeah, so it's bad.
Social media can be highly beneficial. It also can be highly addictive. Digital etiquette and responsible use can help minimize the the negative impacts.
The rule that I usually have for my own self is do not consume more than what you produce. That is, what you produce should be the same amount as what you consume. So if you're consuming so many dance videos, you should also produce as many, or keep a balance. You should not just be taking, you should have some sort of balance between the two, and make an effort to search things up for your own self. When you see information on social media, you fact check it. You go to sites which are credible. Don't just take things at face value, because it can be quite dangerous. And don't take social media such as Instagram as a standard.
You shouldn't take seriously what you say on social media, because if you do that, you will run into a lot of difficult times to strike that balance. And people can also find this balance if they spend less time on social media, because the more time you spend on social media, the more depressed I think you can become, the more anxious you will become, the more stressed you will become.
We realize that maybe 70% of parents don't really check out on what kids are doing at home. All they do is, okay, I have paid your fees, I've bought your books, you have food in the house to eat, you have taxi money to go to school, and then when students come back to the house, they don't check out what you did in school today, what you are doing with your free time when you are at home in your room, locked up. They don't even go to knock to see what that child is doing at a certain moment in time. Those are things that are supposed to be put in place. So we keep sensitizing and we keep lobbying for the collaboration of the parents, because we cannot deal directly with the kids. When they leave school, they are no longer with us. First of all, phones are prohibited in school. So how are we supposed to know if when they are at home, they are not using those phones? So we can only collaborate with the parents in order for us to succeed in this. And the second thing, we cannot completely eradicate Android, Apple, Google from those kids, because the world now is going digital. So in one way or the other, we need those gadgets. We need those kids to use those gadgets, but it's supposed to be guarded, strictly guarded.
Use it to develop yourself. You know, there are learning platforms today that you can use to learn specific skills. You can use to develop yourself in specific aspects. And why not, you can become a content creator, you know, and through that you can make income while using social media. You know, but the key word I believe is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries, all right? Have a schedule. I know that maybe I go to school from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., all right? I can permit myself maybe to use the smartphone maybe for 1 hour, maybe for 2 hours, but it should be for something productive. I can spend maybe 15 minutes to communicate with my family, with my friends, but the chunk of the time should be used for something productive, learning a skill or maybe content creation, why not? All right, so set the boundaries. When it's time for social media, it's time for social media. When the time is up, you move on to something else. You know, for us adults, at times the challenge may be, you know, when do I switch off? You know, maybe you have constant solicitation on your phone, messages keep coming in, the alerts keep coming in. You need to know when it's time for family, you know when it's time maybe for a religious activity, or when it's time to study, all right? And when it's time for social media, yes, it's time for social media. I dedicate my time to that. I do what I need to do in a productive manner, and then I move on to something else.
In the coming days, artificial intelligence will continue to enhance the social media experience, making it even more attractive for users. The impact of social media, therefore, will depend solely on whether the user chooses to control their feed or simply go with the flow.
Thanks.